Hi everyone, this is Zeiss here, and today I would like to talk a bit more about my impressions on the Diablo 4 PTR. Well, I took some notes here. I'm gonna read through this and comment a bit here and there. So grab something to drink, stay a while and listen, and also feel free to disagree, challenge the argument, not the person, and let me know in the comments what you think. Okay, let's go. First things first, the state of the PTR. So next time, please give us build enabling items or boost, or make the bosses drop everything from the loot table so we do not have to waste time farming and get straight to testing, right? Who needs to farm the entire day just to test some system, right? Or to find the item they need to actually have a working build and so on and so forth. Remember Diablo 2's PTR? That was a real PTR, for sure. That was the best PTR you Blizzard have done. So, take notes. Okay, so it would be best to have those things in the stash, ready and waiting for us so we can get straight to the testing part. If we want to use them at all, right? The test build, I mean the game build, was too broken, and I had to reduce settings like turn off ray tracing and also reduce graphic settings like to low or to medium to avoid crashing. There were like RAM leaks, VRAM leaks and stuff. Not good enough. Make it more stable next time. Thank you. Actually some things were not even working. Like I was using sigils to fight the beast in the ice or to get to nightmare dungeons. They didn't work. Most of the times they didn't work. I just used the sigil and the dungeon didn't become nightmare dungeon, and that's just not good. Okay, I think there's not much more to add here. They probably know that they could have done better on the build stability. Okay, now let's move on here to the item system. I'm gonna use the page, the post that they made to announce those changes. I'm gonna go through what was there, what was announced, and also what made impression to me. First, the item system. Rare rework, that's good. Not even needed after level 65 or something. After like you get to world tier 4, maybe you probably don't need rares, just immediate salvage, like marked as junk salvage, pretty good. Smaller pool of affixes, okay, but missing damage reduction or on armor pieces, like the chest piece, the pants, that's not okay, especially for hardcore. And if you follow this channel, you probably know I only play hardcore. Well, for the PTR I actually tried softcore because we never know what might happen, and why bother rebuilding the character if shit gets real, right? Only secret items on World Tier 3, only ancestral items on World Tier 4, that's okay, but for some reason it doesn't apply to Gamble. Why? Why? Please also do this to Gamble. But Gamble, right? Gamble has its own problems. Anyway, affix values are tuned up to be punchier. We want you blah blah to feel them. Yes, they were felt, definitely, but mostly the offensive part. So I don't know, really needs damage reduction. It was not enough. Also, all stats was missing. Why? It's really hard to get the Paragon node bonuses now from the rare nodes. That's not good. New affixes and positioning of affixes. Okay, those were good, but comparing the items was still broken. Please fix this, thank you. Especially resource per second, that was actually really good. You need it on just one item and the resource problem is gone. So as soon as you find this, you're good. That's one of the changes that I liked in particular. It was really good. Okay, Core skills on gloves, that was actually really good, especially for mixed builds. For example, sometimes I use Blood Search Necromancer to speed farm, and sometimes I switch to Blood Lance for better single target for bosses. That's pretty good that we can get +2 core skills on the glove now, so I don't have to work on another glove. Pretty good. In general, these changes were amazing. Legendary items drop from enemy level 95 plus are always 925 item power. That's amazing for the new crafting system, especially having in mind how easy it is to actually brick an item when crafting. That's pretty good, so we have like more chances to actually min-max better. But we'll get to the crafting in a bit. Gems reward, those were okay except Sapphire on weapon. I noticed that the tooltip says one thing and when you socket it, it says another thing, so which one it is? Probably many of you noticed that. Salvage, crafting and rewards have all been tuned, okay, except the tampering and master working parts, like resource cost is way high. It could be slightly reduced, I think. We'll see how they handle this. Item rerolling, gold cost, capped when enchanting, that's really good. Zeiss approves, definitely. Material removal and consolidation, that's really good, like the plants and all that, it's amazing. And especially the elixirs part. Forgotten souls can now be obtained from whispers and... okay, they are a global rare drop from elites. That's good because they were sometimes hard to find, or you have to like specifically go do only Helltide for that, and it could be very annoying. Significantly reduced item drop rates. That's really good, actually. Uniques appear earlier. That's really good, but we need more build enabling uniques. Like, remember in Diablo 2 when you get those gloves with faster hit recovery and 40 to life? That was huge. You could like not use anyone another glove until you get to the highest difficulty or something for most builds. Anyway, we need more things like this, more like leveling and build enabling stuff early on, so we can feel this kind of power. Okay, and actually there's one very interesting thing in Diablo 2 which is lacking here. Let's say you can convert sacred to ancestral, but like give them more power. It's not the same here, and this power could not be felt by just master working, right? Okay, uniques appear earlier. Tampering. Okay, let's talk here. Very good, but very expensive. Can easily brick item with greater affixes, and then you have to find another one, and I don't think that's good. Okay, we need to play more builds per season, so yeah, please make this somewhat easier. Still hard to get good item to tamper with. Yeah, I mean, let's say you find item with all affixes being greater affixes, right? And then you start tampering with it, but on the tampering part you get something that you do not need for your build. Good luck finding another item to tamper with, right? Okay, needs this. So it would be great, I think, to actually be able to use more than one categories, subcategories per category. Like say on weapon, 2 of the weapon type, right? What else? Missing damage reduction recipe. That's huge. Well, damage reduction is really hard to get now. And I believe it would be better to have damage reduction recipe with damage reduction, plain damage reduction from close, and damage reduction from distant enemies. And also Ostat. Where is Ostat? How do we get those Paragon nodes bonuses now? It's nearly impossible. I don't want to socket my gear with, say, Emerald to get dexterity. That sucks. No, please. Okay. Also, it would be better if we could actually exactly pick the affix that we want to add, and re-rolling only to like change the number if we don't like the number. That would be better. It will, people will be happy about this a lot, like very happy about it. Yeah, too much multi-layer RNG. Yeah, that's not good in a competitive scenario, not at all, because let's say you're the best player and no matter how good you are, if RNG is bad for you, you can't actually rank well. That's not good. So skill needs, like player skill needs to play a higher role, or we need to be able to like influence this, like give us higher percent chance to influence those crafts with some other resource or something. This needs to be done. It's not good as it is, but the new system is really good. The base idea, really good. UI needs more filter options on codex page. What I'm talking about this, it's on the recipes. There's not much to filter there. Like when you go to codex of power and you have all these filtering options for the legendary powers, but we don't really have them for the recipes. That's not good enough. Also, when you go to the occultists, we don't really have the so good filtering options, and we can't interact with favorites there, like add, remove. Let's say you want you're using, let's say, the disobedience aspect, and you already maxed it out, and it's already on your gear, and you don't need to use it anymore. Like, give us the option to remove this favorite from the UI at the occultist, so we don't see it on top anymore. It will be later on less actions to perform, like while min-maxing in town between runs of things. That would be a really good change, and I think like many will appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, I already mentioned that. All stats is gone, so maybe give us a all stat and other stat recipe, like the recipe to be all stat and main stat for the class or something. That would be highly appreciated, I believe, especially if we would prefer to get something else on the item itself and then add the all stat, right? Let's say on the globe we need attack speed, critical strike chance, and the core skill or bone spear or whatever, and give us a chance to add like all stats. Or it's not really a good idea to add all stat on gloves, but you get the idea. Like, right? Hope so. Greater affixes need visual improvement on both the ground and inventory and stash. That's a must. Let's say we need to distinguish the items which have 1, 2, or 3 or more of those greater affixes. Probably on that applies to uniques, but in general it's those Roman numerals at the end of the item name. Those are like not easy to notice, and when you pick like several legendaries in your stash or in your inventory, how do you tell which one has the greater affixes? Because I don't know, the coloring needs to be changed. Like, let's say the coloring which is for sacred and ancestral items, that's really good and well done. Well, you can use it in different colors for those kinds of items, and also something else on the ground to make it more noticeable, like emphasize, so we can actually pick the ones that we need, especially after the first week when you don't need probably don't need resources and all that. Just keep ignoring the things that you don't actually need, like not even for salvage, right? If it makes sense. I cannot enchant into a greater affix. That's okay, but the items are too easy to brick, so I would appreciate if there's like a chance to actually enchant this in the future. It's okay to have us work for it and rely on RNG, but it would be also very pleasant to see we can actually do this with very high risk or something, right? Masterworking, it's amazing, but I think many people would like to see an undo option on masterworking, like in case we don't hit that affix which is made more punchier, which is like drastically increased, so to say. And if we don't like which affix it hits, so we can undo it and try again to like hit the same affix. Let's say we want to hit on the gloves +2 bone spear or whatever, or +2 core skill, or more crit chance or whatever, and it hits something else we don't necessarily need because we like have it on another item, or we don't need as much. And I think that's a good idea in general. Codex of Power, great changes there, except needs more interaction. Yeah, I already talked about this. The new codex is great, but same filtering options I believe should be applied to the recipe tab, and also those things should be applied when we go to the NPC who is actually using those things, like the blacksmith and the occultist. We need more filtering, more options in UI. And actually the new UI is simply amazing. I really like it. It's more convenient, definitely. I want to see how it will be on console. That's why we need PTR on console as well, but we'll get to that. Helltide in general, I think it's great. And like I said on my what you need to know about the PTR video, I think it will also be great for leveling now, but I didn't test this yet because of the reasons I already specified at the start of the video. We'll get there, no worries. We have like 5 days ahead of us, so that's pretty good. Density is great, ambushes are great, threat is great. Cinder drop rate doesn't feel right though, for some reason. I see less cinders, I think, like relative to how many monsters we actually fight. And cinders have to be increased, I think. Blood Maiden, it's a really good fight, but I believe it's too OP. Like, it feels like level 200, not 103, right? Doesn't feel right. And actually, I think the second day that I played, I actually died there. But it was I wasn't like playing serious or anything. I wanted to test, but her damage is terrible. Also, especially when she applies vulnerable. And I actually saw many people die there. It was very obvious, probably, that we should not engage this content until a certain point where we get like more min-maxed or decked out characters, right? That's totally fine in a way that giving us content doesn't mean that when the content is available doesn't mean we should immediately do it. That's pretty good, but at the same time I think she is too OP, and with many players around her we had difficult time killing her. I think one of the times we wasted like 20 minutes or something, and the reward was just nothing special. That's not good, so I hope they tuned this boss down. It was not really a pleasant experience. So yeah, I actually tried summoning her on my own with using the 3 materials, but they were provided by me, and the loot was just funny. I don't know. Early availability in World Tier 1 and 2. That's for the Helltide. So I think next thing I want to test is actually leveling on the Helltide, because leveling in the current Diablo state, that's not good, because probably many do the same thing over and over, which gets boring. And Helltide, with all those changes, like all those traps, like from the blood harvest, and all those ambushes and things, I believe now the Helltide will be a very interesting place to level and also get resources early on, and legendaries and all that. Okay, let's move to the pit here. The pit needs ladders. Like, remember Diablo 3? That game which is called 3 but has Diablo in its title for no reason. Well, it had ladders there on this thing, right? Rifts or whatever they were called. Anyway, moving on. Needs better rewards. Like, why drop rares at the end? The pit is something you engage like at level 90 plus. Do we really care about the rares it drops in the end? Probably not. I believe it's better to like give us the material so we can keep delving in the pit. And yeah, something like this. Rewards materials needs to be incremented. What I mean by this is when you delve into the pit until tier 20, you get obushit or whatever the material was called. Let's call it material 1, right? And when you go above like tier 21 up to tier 40, you get only material 2. Well, let's say you wanna craft a new item, you have to go back to the easier content and waste time clearing it only to start crafting a new item with the material 1. So the same goes for after tier 40, you get just material 3. Well, how about incrementing those rewards? Like, let's say on tier 40 and only tier 40, you get also material 2 but also material 1, and on tier 60 you get material 1, 2 and 3, so you don't have to go back to the easier content over and over just to start crafting. I believe many people would actually appreciate this. I noticed actually there was also some problem like rubber banding or RAM leak. I hope it's not, but when using the portal to go to the higher floors on the pit, right, there was sometimes this lag or something, and my graphics card is pretty good. It was actually using like 23.5 gigs of VRAM and it had problems there. That's a no, guys. No. Not, yeah, okay. After tier 60, yeah, that's actually related to also the reward. What's the reward actually after tier 60? Just not good enough. Just bragging rights. We need something else. We need something in game, like I don't know, more materials, more interesting stuff. We'll see. Not group friendly. Only player who opened the pit receiving the lion's share of materials. Yeah, I don't really care about this because I mostly play solo hardcore unless there's some group advantage like in the bosses, which reminds me the bosses should have those drop rates increased. That's a different topic. I'll add it in the end. But I don't think that's any good. Who would want to like do this in a group now? I know, RM tiers probably. Probably nobody else would want to do this. Boss ladder. Okay, Andariel, new boss back in the game, pretty good, but the beast in the eyes doesn't drop the materials needed. How do we test this fight now? It was not present. Not possible to get. Okay, Tormented Echo. The idea on the Tormented Echo is actually really good for the level 200 boss, but DR is needed, definitely needed. Well, let's like compare this to the Blood Maiden. If Blood Maiden is level 103, what about the Tormented Echo boss level 200? Without DR, not really hardcore viable, I think. Class updates. I wouldn't really comment much here on the class updates because I already did in my PTR what you need to know video. I will link it in the description. So if you want to review that, make sure to click it and watch that part of the video. Okay, what it needs. I also gonna add on the solo mode here, the boss drop rates, right? Okay. Let's start with this. What I think the game needs: give uniques to Gamble, please. Remember on Diablo 2, and I'm gonna probably keep referencing the same game over and over because I think Diablo 2 is actually the best Diablo game so far. Right? I hope it makes sense. If it doesn't, well, you are really lost. Well, remember in the Gamble, right, when you can actually find uniques, and that was amazing moment. Let's say you find something that you need in the game bow, and gold actually made sense to farm, or in this case oboes. So that would be a really good addition to the game, I think. Also solo mode and self-found mode separately, right? Because what I don't like in this game is someone ruining my run. I'm gonna do something and the event is not there, or someone already is there doing this, and it appears like I am leeching. This is happening to me. I'm going there, I want to do something, I nearly kill something, and someone appears on my run and doesn't do anything helpful, but leeches like the XP and the drops and all that. And why would anyone like this? I understand if people want to do things in groups, that's totally fine, but that's usually like between friends, because we don't have really good matchmaking options right now in the game. But it's really annoying to go do something and see someone else there with like who's already done it, and the content is not accessible to you. This applies to like green favors, things on Hell Tide, and it's annoys the crap out of me, you know. We need, I think, some kind of brutal mode. Okay, remember this boss, the Blood Maiden I was discussing? We need more things like this, but it has to be optional, like some kind of harder mode. It doesn't have to be like exactly that hard, but we need something like let's compare it to Path of Exile Ruthless mode, but things also need to be harder. And we need a reason for this, like a reason to do those things, like to like show skill or something. That would be a really good mode for bragging rights, I think, when actually someone wants to do this. Like give us less gold, less materials, less drops, make things difficult, but not in the way they are right now. Just senseless combat with one shots, that ain't gonna cut it, right? Also, I think we need armory. Like, remember the wardrobe? It has cosmetic presets. Why not have build presets? Like, let's say I have different gear for high nightmare dungeons and pits and vaults and whatever, and I have different set of gear for the open world, where different set of gear and different paragon and different skills are more optimal. You can do it faster, and more effectively and all that. We need that. We definitely need that. Let's say changing the build preset costs as much as the changes would normally cost, and it should say like this costs like 5 million gold to perform. Okay, and 5 million gold is nothing, and usually it won't cost like 5 million gold. That's like significant change to do on your build. Just an example, but I hope you get the idea. Filter, let us at least hide items we don't want to see. Like, why would we want to see white items on World Tier 4? Unless it's some kind of two-hander and we're desperate for gold, which I highly doubt would be the case. And like, let's say for example it's late in the season and we don't need to see the legendaries which don't have greater affixes, and we don't need materials like to salvage them, and let's say we don't need to upgrade the Codex of Power anymore. And why keep seeing this? Give us the option to keep playing, keep blasting, keep fighting monsters. I think that would be a good addition. PTR for console on version select. Well, that's a must, and I think it should be done. Do you know, if you go on PlayStation right now and you check the product version, you know what's still there? The beta test server slam. Yeah, I'm blinking stupid. Okay. Mouse and keyboard for console. That's a must, especially with the new UI, with all the filtering and search and all that. And I am guessing not many on console would probably wait for someone to type letter by letter on a virtual keyboard to actually say something to the party. That's a no-go. And not many want to use the party voice chat. And not many even have the option to do so. Right? So I hope it makes sense. We also need sets rewards, more stash space, like 5, 6, that's not enough, like 50, 60, that's more like it, maybe. More content and bosses. We keep seeing the same bosses. Tomblord, Sharpshooter, whatever, just a couple of them. We need more. More. Diablo in the Diablo games, for fuck's sake. Why is the game called Diablo and there's no Diablo in the game? I don't want to see like expansion 5 or something. If the game is called Diablo, the main antagonist is not in the game. I'm gonna keep saying that. I actually would probably review the game when Diablo gets back into the game, when I consider the game out of beta, right? Hope it makes sense. No offense here, but no Diablo in the Diablo game? Come on. Bring back the primevals in the game and give us different loot tables for them, right? Remember Diablo 2, when you actually had to target farm different bosses for higher chance to get this and that? Yeah, that was a thing. Lilith drop rates, the Echo of Lilith. What does this boss provide other than bragging rights? I killed her just once and never went there except to like test damage reduction. She drops like 2 rings or amulets or a ring or something. It's just not worth doing, except for bragging rights, and that's, I don't know, we're not kids anymore, right? Spread Uber's uniques across bosses, and also more Uber uniques. Go back to Diablo 3, go back to Diablo 2 and see how many actually useful uniques are there, right? Useful. Let's say for leveling, for late game and end game. Those things had place in the game, and having to farm just a few of them, which might not necessarily provide a significant difference, I don't know, it just needs more. New crafting options for uniques. Yeah, I mean, we can tamper now, we can masterwork and all that, but I believe uniques should it should be possible to make uniques actually uniques, like being able to do more things on them. That would be good to see. Matchmaking, already talked about this, and clan options. It would be great to also have like a clan base or camp where we can go do stuff, rearrange it, like set a fire or move the NPCs, tell them where to stand, where to place the waypoint and all that, with a cost, of course. That has to come into the game, especially having in mind the open world and all that. Clan base, I think it will be a good idea. And probably more surprises, right? Okay, I think that's most of what I wanted to say. Probably I skipped something. We'll probably make another video about my PTR feedback. All of this was already reported to Blizzard while playing, either on the forums or with the in-game option, right? What I want to do next is play more builds, right? Mostly Necromancer, because I don't really like the other classes. They're not my thing. And also I want to test how leveling is now, especially on Helltide, because like I said, my idea about leveling on Helltide might not be so good, but we'll try. Yeah, I guess there's nothing much to add here, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I hope you liked this video. You probably saw that I was too emotional, because that's because I actually care about this game and it's not good enough for the price tag. So Blizzard, please deliver. Thank you guys for watching, and this is Zeiss here, leaving. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.